Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I want to look at the four main types of triads, being major, minor, diminished and augmented. Most of us are probably reasonably familiar with major and minor, although maybe not how they're formed. Less so with the diminished and probably even less so with the augmented. So let's look at them. We're going to use C chords as the examples. So if we start off with our major chord, we have the notes of C, E and G. And if we count the semitones between the outside two notes, the C and the G, we find that that's 7 semitones. And then if we count the semitones between the C and the E, we have 4, which leaves us 3 left because there's 7 in total, and that is exactly what we have between the E and the G, 3 semitones. So we can say the C major chord is the C, followed by the note that is 4 semitones higher, which is the E, and then the note which is 3 semitones higher, which is the G. And that's the pattern for all major chords, of course, it's just that we happen to be starting in C. Another way of saying that is the C has a major third interval at the start, which takes us to the E, and a minor third interval that takes us to the G. And that's just because a major third is 4 semitones and a minor third is 3 semitones. Anyway, let's move on to the minor. So for the minor, we're going to have the notes of C, E flat, and G. So we've lowered this middle note a semitone in the middle. The outside two notes are still C and G, so we still have 7 semitones. But because we've reduced this gap down here, this has to be 3 semitones now, leaving 4 at the top. Or another way of saying it, a minor third at the bottom and a major third at the top. So let's carry on and let's flatten the G as well. So if we have a C, E flat, and G flat, firstly, we know that this outside interval has to be 1 semitone less. We've flattened the G, so this has got to be down to 6. And we know C and E flat is 3, therefore this one must be 3 as well. Or another way of saying it, a minor third with another minor third on top. So that's the diminished. And then finally the augmented, if we come over the other side here and sharpen this G, so we now have a G sharp. Firstly, we know the outside interval has to have grown because we've sharpened the G from being 7 semitones, this must be 8. And the C to E is 4 semitones, and the E to G sharp is therefore 4 semitones as well. And this is the augmented. So the pattern for these is basically, if it's major, so major here, our pattern is 4 semitones and 3 semitones, or our major third followed by a minor third. For a minor, it's 3 semitones followed by 4 semitones, or a minor third followed by a major third. For our diminished chord, it's 3 semitones followed by 3 semitones, or 2 minor thirds, so minor third first and a minor third second. And then finally for our augmented chord, it's 4 semitones and 4 semitones, or a major third with another major third stacked on top. So to sum all that up, there's a really good way of thinking about this, which is if we just consider the major chord, we know we can get the minor by flattening the third, and we know we can get the diminished by flattening the fifth. And then again, starting at the major, if we just sharpen the fifth, we end up with the augmented. So it's not to suggest that they're all based off of the major. That's not really what it's about, because major and minor tonalities are quite different to start off with. But it can be a way of thinking about it. The minor, if, for example, you can just flatten the fifth for the diminished. Could be a good shortcut. Anyway, I hope that's been useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share this with anybody you think might find these kinds of videos useful. Until the next one, enjoy your music.